Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games. Match period of Leicester City against West Ham United. Both teams in good form. One with 3 wins, one with 1 win. However, 4 goals, 9 goals between them last weekend. Gonzo, can I get your thoughts on our opponents, Leicester City, please?
Yeah, I think what's got to be said about Leicester City, I think they've done remarkably well following the the tragedy of their owner dying in the helicopter crash, which ironically was in a fixture against us. Well, I'm not saying it hasn't affected him. Clearly, it has. Clearly, there was some mourning at the club and in the community. But I mean, in terms of the business structure of the club, it seems to have not affected them. You know, I think the son has taken over, and I think it's certainly is carried on as his father would have done. And they've carried on with that same blueprint and that same model of running the club. So the training ground continues to get built. They seem to continue. They've got an infrastructure there in terms of their recruitment, and they sell players and buy better ones or other good ones, as you've alluded to in the past as well. And I think what is impressive was their League Cup win. Their league win was brilliant, and I think everybody thought that was just a flash in the pan. Okay, Leicester have done that, and it was remarkable, and it was brilliant. I think it was very, very good for football. But now they're just going to slowly disappear. But off the back of that, they seem to be cementing themselves as, dare I say it, a top 6 team, and I think that's really quite remarkable. Actually, I think it's a brilliantly run club.
I think they've made the top 6 a top 7 now. I think in a year's time, 2 years' time, we will Sky Sports will refer to it as the top 7. And I think the reason they're going to do it is because I think Leicester City they did it last season. I think they'll stay in it again, possibly staying again this season. And in order for Sky Sports to keep the likes of Spurs or Arsenal, whichever ones drop out, in there, they're going to have to rename it the top 7. And I think that's the biggest compliment you can give them, really. They're thoroughly impressive in the transfer market, not just for buying players, but I like the way they go about selling players, to be honest with you. Chelsea wanting Ben Chilwell, fine, 50 million, you can have him. There's no, oh, well, would you take 40? No, it's 50 million. If you want him, it's 50 million. And they just have a plan. Leicester just have a plan. They say if Chelsea don't come, great, we've got Ben Chilwell. Chelsea come, we're getting 50 million. Let's get a plan together now. So if Chelsea do knock on the door, we know exactly what we're doing. And there not many teams. I think West Ham have got a fear factor when it comes to clubs wanting our best players. A little smidgen of a rumour of a club wanting one of our best players, we go into panic mode. There's leaks everywhere. Oh, he's not for sale. He's not for sale. We want this, we want that. Leicester just don't do that. There's a calmness about them. They say, that's all right. You want one of our best players? That's fine, you can have him. But here's the price, and it's a big price. And I'm a bit jealous. I would like that about West Ham. I think it's too late for the Declan Rice thing with the transfer window shutting on Monday. But at the start of the summer, I would have minded if West Ham come out and said 80 million. Chelsea, you want him? He's 80 million pounds. There you go. You can say to Declan, look, we're not going to stand in your way, Declan. Chelsea want you. They pay that. You can go. Best of luck to you. And I would have liked to have seen us formulating a plan in the background. So if Chelsea did come in at any point with 80 million, we knew exactly what we were going to go do with it. We don't have that. We don't have that anything about us that Leicester have. I think it's fantastic. What's their aim for you for this season then, Leicester? I mean, they sort of set themselves a bit of a high bar to kick off with.
Well, their aim will be top 4. And I think possibly their public aim will be top 4. I actually think Brendan Rodgers is such a cocky, and I don't mean that nasty. He's likeable. He's likeable. But he's got utter belief in his own ability. I went for cocky instead of arrogant, because that does sound wrong. But he's such a cocky, confident guy. I think privately, up until the point where they can't do it anymore, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the season and says to his players, we're going to go for the title this year. And I think it might be one of those where you aim high, and if you don't quite reach it, then you're still in a very, very respectable and very good position. I think top 4 absolutely is their aim. I think these are really, they're serious contenders. And they possibly, that's not too controversial, is it? They possibly have the best striker in the league. He's possibly been the best striker in the league for the last 5 years. He might not have always got the golden boot. Aguero and Aubameyang and people like that might have stolen the headlines on occasion. But he might be the best striker in the Premier League, and that's a hell of a thing to have. The
difference with Rodgers this year compared to previous years, mainly at his Liverpool days, he's now one of the more experienced ones. He's looking at Arsenal with Arteta, Man United with Ole, thinking, I'm better than those managers. I'm better than them. Looking at his squad, thinking, I think I've got just as good, possibly better squad at my disposal here. I think they have to aim for the top 4, actually. I think anything breaking the top 6, the Sky Sports top 6 for the second year running would be a success, if you ask me, but I think they have to shoot for the stars, really. He's almost got to justify getting backed heavily. At some point, that Leicester owners, if they wanted to, they could probably back him a bit more financially in the transfer market. I think they've got a couple of big signings in them if they want to. I just think they maybe look at the squad. I think there's no need yet. But if we get Champions League football, then there's a need to start ploughing a little bit of cash in there and getting players for him. And I think he's got to sort of show that last season maybe wasn't a one-off, but were you disappointed with the way they finished last season? Because if you look at me as a Premier League fanboy, if you like, as a neutral, not as a West Ham fan, I look at it and said, what's your disappointments for that? I would pick out Leicester City, actually, because at one point they were like 3rd in the league by quite a while, and they finished 5th, but from January onwards they were just poor.
Yeah, I mean, but I have certain aspirations for the Premier League anyway. I look at PSG and I look at Bayern Munich and I look at Juventus and I look what's happening with a lot of the other leagues in Europe and one dominant team, and I think it's incredibly unhealthy. I hate it. It's not actually sport. Sport's meant to be competitive. It doesn't matter whether you're watching a Formula One race or a boxing match or cricket or football. You really want your sporting event to go down to the last punch or the last minute or the last goal or the last lap. That's what sport's meant to be like. It's meant to be competitive, and I find them an absolute, I suppose, foreign leagues, an absolute yawn fest. So I like with football. I like a different team to win. I know West Ham can't win it, but I like a different team to win every year. Which is why when I was saying when Liverpool last year, hold on, I don't want Man City to win it for a 3rd year. That's incredibly unhealthy. Might not be everyone's favourite team, Liverpool. I'd rather they won it, actually. It's not this year. I hope it's someone else. And I was disappointed, to answer your question, for that reason. I thought it was healthy for the league, it was good for the league. But as much as we were really good after lockdown, it just hit them hard, Geo. They weren't prepared for it. Whatever you were meant to do, they didn't do. They didn't do it well. I think had there not been a coronavirus, I think they would have got the top 4, certainly. I think they might have got 2nd or 3rd.
I'm not sure they would have. I think they were poor from January. I think losing Ndidi, which they've just done again, was massive. And it's interesting to see how they'll cope now without him for a few weeks. And I think Rodgers, I love Rodgers. He was the one I wanted at West Ham when we sacked Slav.
I remember,
he's the one I wanted the most, and I like him as a manager, but I do think he bottled it in big games last season for Leicester. I think if I was a Leicester fan, as grateful as you will be for what he's done, it's a bit like when we had Slav, actually. We're grateful for the entertaining attacking football and finishing 7th. However, a more switched on manager might have actually got us into Champions League football even. I think Rodgers is a little bit like that when they come up against the big boys. I thought they were fantastic to watch playing their 4-3-3 formation, but then they'd come up against Liverpool and Man City, they'd almost retreat a little bit. They'd go to 3 at the back, and I just thought they took the sting out of their punch a little bit. And I thought, oh, you're wasting an opportunity here. If there's any team in the league that's going to go at this one, it's you. I was looking at them a bit like you are. Go on then. Go do something. Take points off Liverpool. Let's open up the title challenge. I just felt they were a little bit hesitant almost, and that's why when they switched to 3 at the back last weekend against City, I thought, oh no, I'm going to be honest, before the game I saw the lineup, I thought, oh Brendan mate, what are you doing? You've done it again. They went on to win 5-2, but not going to lie, the first half I thought City were all over them until the penalty, and in the second half I thought it was a much more fairer battle between the two of them, but until that pen I thought, oh, you've got this wrong again, Brendan. You've gone 3 at the back and it just doesn't work. But if he can find a way of making 3 at the back work, and he can find a way of playing without Ndidi, I think they'll overcome what I felt was their disappointment parts of last season. And final question on our opponents as always, though. Can I get the players you admire?
Yeah, I think Sion Chu is fantastic. Very, very good player. The new right back, did he come from Atlanta?
Yes.
I think he might have come. Yeah, he's really good, and that's really interesting because, I'm probably my favourite right back. Well, up to a couple of years ago, I guess Wan-Bissaka and Trent Alexander-Arnold have made a good play for it. But my favourite right back was Ricardo Ferreira, and I think he's brilliant. So that's going to be a really interesting dynamic when he comes back from injury there. Harvey Barnes has been playing out of his skin, and which I think he's earned an England call up today, quite frankly. And he's looked really, really good. So well done them for bringing him through. And the one that's really caught my eye in the recent games, I've already mentioned Vardy's, don't talk about him again, is Tielemans. And I just such a bright player and plays with his head up constantly and finds angles for passes that I just think other people don't see. We used to have a player called Jarl Berkovic, who a lot of people will remember, and Harry used to say about him, he just sees passes that other people don't see. I guess the famous one of those at the moment is Kevin De Bruyne, another guy from Belgium, of course. But he's got that about him. He's he really does pull the strings. He's at the metronome in the middle of the midfield, and somebody we'll have to watch out for, certainly.
Yeah, Johnny Evans is one of the unsung heroes of the Premier League, I think, to be honest with you. He's a doubt for this game. He went off injured last week, so unsure if he's going to make it or not. But I do think him and Soyuncu are building partnership. I do think Johnny Evans is underappreciated, if you like. I really like Harvey Barnes. I think they've got a real gem of a player there. He's a bit raw, he's a bit erratic at times, but if they can just polish him up. He was sort of in and out of the team at Leicester. He was never guaranteed starter, but I think he now is a guaranteed starter. I thought he was fantastic against Man City. He's very direct. I like a direct player. I think the Premier League don't have enough of them anymore. I think there's too much run, and when you get to your defender, turn around and pass it a little bit. Harvey Barnes ain't afraid to try and skip past the defender and stuff. That's why they won 3 penalties against Man City, because the City defence just didn't know what to do with all the runs in behind them and stuff. They just kept getting tangled up in their feet. It's refreshing to see a youngster like that, and for also Brendan Rodgers, he's almost like trying to use him a bit like Raheem Sterling in a way, saying just keep on shooting. I like players that have a lot of shots in a game that aren't what I would call irresponsible shots, where we all know a player that'll cut in on his weak foot and fire it from 30 yards at goal. Not that kind of stuff, but someone that's getting into 15, 20 yards out from goal, hitting the target regularly and stuff. That's what Harvey Barnes does. And I just think with a little tweaking, a little polishing, experience possibly, I think it's a deserved call-up for him as well. He's just a pity he's got possibly one of England's only world-class players in his position in that left wing spot. But I do think there's a lot more to come from Harvey. And Didi is one of my favourite players in Premier League too. Big loss for them. But I'm not sure about Mendy, to be honest with you. I've seen him a few times and not convinced. And the last player I just want to mention quickly is James Justin. I think he was really good when Pereira was out last season. He'd come in. I thought he stood up really well. Moved him to left back now for Castagne playing at right back, and I think he's done really well there. When Pereira does come back, Brendan's got a difficult decision to make, because I think James Justin can quite rightly turn around and say, hang on a minute, I don't deserve to be dropped. I know you've got these two elite players, if you like, not quite world class, but they're in that bracket under it. But hang about, you can't just be chucking me out of the team. I think he's out of position on the left. I think he's done extremely good for Leicester. Anyway, enough blowing their trumpets. We've done it with Wolves last week. We're doing it with Leicester now. Hopefully it has the same effect.
Yeah,
I felt a bit silly after that result. But here, we've got an offer for you. It's not an offer. If you want to support Hammers Chat, you can become a patron. Go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. It's the best time to become one, because you get charged when you sign up, then you get charged on the 1st of the month. So you're watching this on the 2nd of the month, which means you've just missed the payment. So you get a whole month's worth of content for your extra value. So you get matchday mornings, all position previews. I've done the Leicester one already. Bit of an easy one to do, because everyone knows about Jamie Vardy and stuff. And you get your player ratings, mug of tea with Geo and Gonzo, loads of good stuff. Check out links in the description. But let's talk about West Ham. Gonzo, one forced change. Ryan Fredericks out for up to 4 weeks. Now we've got a bit of a curveball, because recording this, we have not yet announced the signing of Vladimir Kufal, although the Slavia Prague president has said that he's in London today, which is Thursday, for his medical. So you have to assume he's away to become a West Ham United player. But do you expect to see Ben Johnson lining up on Sunday afternoon?
No, I don't. I expect to see this guy
straight in.
Up. Yeah, I do. I don't know what. Listen, we've not spoken today. I don't know what you've heard. I've heard this.
Yeah, I think the announcement's waiting to happen.
Sure. Yeah. So I expect that. I think the whole point of getting the deal done was so he was eligible. So I think you've got your answer there on Ben Johnson. Really, sorry to say.
He's never really played right wing back for Slavia Prague. Bit risky perhaps, or do you I assume we're expecting 3 at the back, and you would like to see 3 at the back remain?
I would, but I mean we've got Thomas Souček has very kindly brought over a couple of Slavia Prague fans over to Hammers Chat, and they watch our videos, and there's a couple of them who do comment, and this guy's name has been coming up for quite a while, and one of them in particular rates him very, very highly. So I don't know. That's all I've got to go on. I'm not going to lie and say I've seen the guy play. Clearly, I haven't. I think he's played. Over there in the Czech League all his life. So why would we have seen him play? But I do expect three at the back.
Yeah, may as well. I mean, Thomas Soucek's come over to play centre mid and end up being our scout as well. But
we need
I actually expect to see him as well. To be honest with you, like you said, we've hurried this deal along pretty quick. It's almost because he's been linked with us for a while. He was linked with us 2 months ago or something. I think it was almost a sporadic, maybe. Then Fredericks gets injured, it's quick, pay whatever the money is, it's 5 million, just get it paid, get him over, get him signed up, and he's available to go on Sunday, so I expect to see him as well. Same back three, well, to be fair, is that the only change you'd make from the team that started against Wolves, or is there anything different?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll do it, won't it, really? Yeah, look, we played well, we had such a good game against Wolves, it was dreamland for West Ham, really. How often do we go and thrash teams? I mean, we usually get thrashed. Well, we got thrashed last night, but we don't normally take the game to teams like we did then. So, yeah, absolutely right that we don't change it. Is
the cup game now sort of essentially they've shot themselves in the foot? Really, the players that perhaps were hoping to get into the team, they've sort of made Moyes' mind up for him.
Well, I don't think it mattered anyway. They weren't. Let's be fair. Haller could have scored a hat trick. Yarmolenko could have curled one in from 50 yards and they still wouldn't have got in the team. Even when we played badly in the league and the cup team were playing well, they still weren't getting into the team. There's no way into the team for them. Yarmolenko will be if we use a substitute in games, it will be Yarmolenko will be the substitute that we use. So I think he will feature at some point. Not even necessarily against Leicester, but he will be the chosen one, so to speak. Yeah, no, they've not done themselves any favours, but they couldn't. It was really out of their hands. Maybe had the offer of a first team place that carrot been dangled, we might have seen something different. I don't know.
Does it concern you though that we've been a bit reluctant to use the bench in some games, if you like, and the players that are going to feature on the bench were essentially the players that just got beat 4-1 by Everton?
I've thought about it quite a lot today, and I've thought about your comments in particular. When I don't know whether it was the player ratings or the review, but you mentioned in there that we just have a surplus of players now that are just not going to be used. And you mentioned it, I think it's really important. It's been bugging me all day. I mean, the substitutes have been bugging everyone, you, me, everyone that's watching here. We know that was bad. But it really does play into that. And if you are Anderson and Lanzini and Sebastian Haller and a number of them, you're going to be looking and thinking, I'm just not playing. I can't get on to that bench. I can't get onto that pitch to prove myself for 10 minutes to get in the team. It's a situation you don't want. You're there hoping somebody gets hurt, basically, so as you can get a run in the team, which is not a great situation to be in, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know people say, banging on about the subs, but we can't really discuss what we're going to see for the starting 11 because it picks itself and we need about West Ham content. But I was thinking about earlier today, I don't know how Josh Cullen's got a future at West Ham. Now I'm thinking, how is he going to get in? He can't get on the bench. He won't even be in the squad against Leicester. I know there's the COVID thing, so he won't be involved anyway. But let's just say he was fresh and fit and ready to go. Martin Noble's got that position. He's sort of forced centre back. He needs an injury, not just to get on the bench. And even when he's on the bench, he's not going to get on the pitch. There's a good chance Felipe Anderson won't even be in the squad against Leicester City. Snodgrass as well. I just don't know how these players are going to get minutes anymore because where are they going to come? We know the manager doesn't like doing substitutions, and I don't know. I just don't see. I just don't see much. Not to say point of having these players anymore. If I was them, I'd be trying to get out the club ASAP before the window shuts, because I'd be thinking I'm just not going to get a game here. Anyone on that bench is struggling now. That starting 11 picks itself for the next week. I know going forward form and that comes into the equation, but like Gonzo alluded to, we've played poorly against Newcastle and there was little to zero repercussions for the starting 11 the following week. By the way, I'll just do a mini review of the Wolves game because I was away for the Wolves game. I thought we were superb against Wolves, Gonzo. I thought every man was brilliant. I thought Masuaku was a delight. I thought Declan Rice was back to his best. I thought he was awful against Everton, but he was out of position. But I thought Declan was poor against Newcastle and Arsenal. But against Wolves, I thought he was almost playing a different role. He was a bit more central midfielder-ish rather than defensive midfield, which is what you want when you're playing like a 3-4-3 like we were. I thought Fornals was intelligent, actually. The free kick, our first goal, not sure anyone else in our team would have done that, to be honest. Maybe Mark Noble, but that was it. I don't think anyone else would have been switched on enough to even try it, because what's the worst that happens? Referee says, "Oh, get that ball back here and take that properly." I thought we were magnificent. The starting 11 picks itself for Sunday, bar the right wing back thing, which is going to be Kufal or Ben Johnson. Really, there's only two options. I feel a bit sorry for Ashby not getting on against Everton. I thought he could have staked a claim for something. I understand maybe if I've seen some people saying the reason Moyes didn't want to do changes because he saw the Everton players getting injured, so why would you risk injury? But then we risked Declan Rice for 90 minutes, so also you would have taken Ashby on. You wouldn't worry about a risk to an injury for your third choice right back, would you? A young kid. Anyway, what's the best chance of us winning this game? And don't say score more goals than opposition. None of that. Tactically, player wise.
I'm not feeling funny anyway. I wasn't going to make a smart comment. I think contesting the midfield is going to be hugely important on this one. I think Leicester's formation is going to be a key to it. If they sort of double up with wide players, it could make it slightly interesting for us. I hope they go with the 3 actually, because we've shown to be good against Arsenal and Wolves when we match up against teams. I'm pretty sure we will, as we've both discussed. I think what I do think will assist us there is when we're playing that back 3, which will be obviously Balbuena, Ogbonna and Cresswell. We need to be quite deep because we need to be guarded for Jamie Vardy's pacing behind. We can't leave any pacing behind because none of them will catch him. But what I do think is helpful is the 3 of them will be quite tight together, and then they'll be basically a fullback or a wing back either side of them. And what I think that does is that will cut out Tielemans' passing channels quite a lot for the balls that he looks to play in between the margins. I don't think that space will be there. So I think we'll actually play quite a tight defence. What we have to just make sure that we do, and the pivotal key thing is that we make sure that we continue to attack. And, you know, we can't expect to attack as well as we did against Wolves. But we just got to make sure that we defend well and we get 6 or 7 chances throughout the game. If we do that, then we give ourselves a hell of a chance in this game.
I'm a bit fearful of Castagna coming down that side, actually. I thought Semedo was a bit disappointed for such a big signing for Wolves against Masuaku. I think this is a different kettle of fish for our left wing back on Sunday. I think he's coming up against someone that's come into the Premier League. He looks like he's been at Leicester for more than 2 months anyway. He's fitted in there. You were to show someone the Leicester game against Man City and say, pick out the new signing, you would not pick him. I thought he was their man of match, actually. I know Vardy got a hat-trick and Harvey Barnes was fantastic, but I actually thought he was just unbelievable. I think we're in trouble down there, and like you said, we leave any space in behind. Not just Vardy, Harvey Barnes. I think Barnes' pace against City, he was giving Kyle Walker a good race in a sprint, and I thought, crikey, not a lot of players can do that. I've seen Kyle Walker often be out of position but use his speed to get back and recover, and Harvey Barnes was really testing him at some point. So I don't fancy that, especially against Balbuena, he's not quick, Balbuena, and if Harvey Barnes gets one-on-one against him in a race, then we're in trouble down that side. I do hope, though, if they do go through the back, and I have to say, we miss Antonio a lot when he doesn't play. Like I like Ali as a striker, but he's just not Antonio, and I think Soyuncu's in trouble. So I think Soyuncu can be a bit erratic. He's prone to a slide tackle, chopping someone down, and I think we saw Antonio give Connor Cody the run around. I don't think he's too different, Soyuncu. I think he's quite the same in terms of build and speed as Connor, and I think Antonio will run him into the ground. And if there is one slight benefit from the Everton game is that Mikel didn't even travel, didn't even take him to Liverpool. He stayed at home, so he had his feet up and rested for this one. Are you confident?
Yeah, I am.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm confident. I think we're a good team, actually. You know, you've got to try and separate what happened last night. And Geo, do you know what I mean? We've spent the last however long, I don't know, the last almost 24 hours talking about what. Well, by the time this video goes out, of course it's not live. We've spent 48 hours talking about what went wrong in the cup. Actually, the league team, and you mentioned Antonio, it's a great shout. I think he might be a little bit much for them. Bowen in the form that he's in, Declan Rice will have a massive point to prove, bearing in mind his horror show at centre half. Thomas Souček's back. Nobody runs more than Thomas Souček. They just don't. The stats bear it out, and I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know about minutes played or whatever, but sort of pro rata, I wouldn't be surprised since the Premier League started up again if Thomas Souček has run as much or more than any other player in the Premier League. He covers so much ground. It's hard work. Look, they've got lots of good players, but I like what we're doing. I like our system. I like the way we attack. We're not nice. We're not nice. We're a bit nasty actually. We're a bit, we're a bit niggly, nasty little fouls and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm quite confident.
I'm strangely optimistic for this one. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Mendy in their defensive midfield position. We've got Fornals and Bowen. I felt they were a bit narrower against Wolves than they had been previously. I do think they were a bit more infield, and that puts them into sort of Mendy role rather than up against anyone else. And I fancy us to take advantage of that. James Maddison's not fully fit yet, but the fact that Rodgers has been a bit patient with him is a bit of a concern. If Johnny Evans is missing on Sunday, I'd be licking our lips for this one, because there's
Is it Amati? Amati, is that the guy?
Yes, the young lad.
That's the guy they play there, isn't it?
Yeah, they put Armati. He started against City, sort of to the right of the defence, but they had Evans and Soyuncu in there with him.
Yeah.
But if Evans is out, I think there's a chance Christian Fuchs will start left centre back. He was centre back against Arsenal in the cup, and he's not a centre back. He's a good servant, Christian Fuchs, but he's not a centre back. And this is where, if they do go three at the back, I think they will go three at the back if Evans doesn't make the game. If Evans makes it, I think he'll keep his 4. Why would you switch to 3 for West Ham? I think he'll keep his 4. But if he's out, I think he'll go 3 at the back, and I think he'll be that Arminetti, Soyuncu and Fuchs. We've got a fancier chance against that Leicester defence. We have to fancy a scoring. The only problem is Leicester fancy their chances at scoring at the other end as well. I think it'll be a good game actually. I'm looking forward to it. I think it should have some goals for us. Can I get your prediction then, please?
Yeah, I just think we're not going to. I think that team that rolls over and have his tummy tickled is gone, and I'm aware. Again, you've got to separate from the cup team. We're motivated and we're fit now, and that goes for the league. We weren't motivated for the cup. There's no interest from anyone at the club to play in the cup at all. I think we're going to win 2-0.
Crikey, I didn't see that one coming. I know Leicester have won 3 games, but they've had 5 penalties, I think, so far in the 3 games. They were all penalties. I'm not saying they weren't penalties, but I do think it sort of creates a false perception of the games. 5-2 away to Man City is fantastic, but then when you look at it a bit closer, like I said, I thought Man City were a better team in the first half. There was 3 pens in there, and then against West Brom they won comfortably in the end. But I thought the first half it was reasonably easy. I thought it was relatively even between West Brom and Leicester. Then they got their goal and West Brom just fell apart and stuff. But I'm optimistic. I'm going to say 1-1 actually. I'm going to say 1-1. A share of the spoils. And it'll be a good result actually. I would take a point now if you offered it to me.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, that's myself and Gonzo. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check us out on patreon.com/hammerstrap. The links in the description. And Gonzo, I shall see you on Sunday.
Certainly will.